Dr. Vaishali and I am reading from the book Substance of Homeopathy, book written by Dr. Rajan Sankaran. Chapter number 37, the acids. Today's acid is muriatic acidum. The main theme of muriates is the feeling of disappointment, and in order to avoid this, the muriate patient can make a lot of effort in nurturing others. For example, Nectar muriaticum is highly sympathetic and affectionate, and these people often lend a shoulder for others to weep on. The love and care in the muriate is much more than in phosphorus or even the phosphoric acid, since the likely disappointment is also more intense. The main rubric of muriatic acidum are serious, industrious, restless, excitement when working, thoughts intrude and crowd around each other while at work, discontent with himself, with everything, and this succeed never, anger with indignation. The exact feeling of muriaticum acidum is not brought out in this rubric, proving by the Yone Lasson has made our understanding of muriaticum acidum much clearer. Dream proving. This following a single dose of muriaticum acidum 30C kept under the pillow. Restlessness in the bed, aversion to touch, on going to sleep vision of long knives, not very sharp or glistering but rough and dull. One knife was stabbed in a tree and blood was pouring out, which is shown in the picture, not very sharp as if we throw steams glasses, and no fear but lugubrious and vague threat what is going to happen to me next. Now the dream is I am staying with a friend, wife, husband and 3 children in a lovely big cozy free house. I was supposed to help with the children, clothing and feeding them in the morning. I like this, but when I was interrupted when doing something, I immediately got upset. Oh, I hope it will be ready in time. Little daughter has to be in the school at 9. Then there was the woman who came and had a brush on her face with a plaster on it. She had to go to her work and had to remove the plaster. I was not doing it quite right, and so some blood came with it, and that kept on bothering me later. Suppose that woman might get a blood poisoning now, or the plaster will not fit anymore tomorrow. Did I tear too much skin while removing? And I was not feeling guilty about it, but it was constantly in my mind. I kept on brooding about everything that might possibly go wrong, with the feeling that it would be a disaster. Meanwhile, there was an older gentleman who lost his contact lens, and I had to help and search for it. Hopeless to find those tiny things in the hairy carpet, I got irritated and I felt disorderly in my head. Then little girl shouted that she was ready on the toilet and I had to wipe her bottom. Yes, I'm coming. And I yelled irritated. And then the husband gave a shopping list of the things that had to be brought at the grocery store, and that was a relief and comfort away from here, outer delightful, not being interrupted constantly, just one thing at a time. End of the dream. And next night still a little restlessness, and I could not get sleep because of chilliness, which is highly unusual for me. When we study the dream, we see that all the above mentioned rubric fit into his situation of muriaticum acidum, where she feels that she has to make constant effort to nurture everything around and ultimately gets completely exhausted, and exhaustion is in a process. Next is sulfuricum acidum. Sulfuricum acidum is the main theme of the sulfur itself is the need to make an effort. Therefore, sulfuricum acidum represents a very much exaggerated need to make an effort. So the main symptom of sulfuricum acidum are hurry while eating, in movement, cannot do things fast enough, and walking and writing, serious, industrious, restless. On the other hand, in a field side, we have a weary speech, monosyllabus, and prostration of the mind and discouraged. Next one is in floricum acidum. The theme of flor as we have seen, is that of the incompatible relationship with and need to be a break off. So, floricum acidum represents the tremendous effort in the direction of the breaking the relationship. This increased activity is seen in the buoyancy, means lightness, increased ability to exercise his muscles without fatigue, impulse to walk fast, necessity to be always on the move. The specific direction of this increased energy or the activity is indicated by the increased sexual desire, inability to realize responsibility, and enjoyment excessive, which is mentioned in the Fatak. The other pole along the same axis is also seen in the dream of sudden death of his little son and also of the son of one of his friends. Thinks that in both cases he had been one to blame and reproach himself very much, which is mentioned in the encyclopedia. And this dream shows the struggle in the direction of not letting the relationship break. It shows the guilt and responsibility. And physical symptoms are very hot passion. Also in Dubric there is a cold and heat aggravates. And the second is craving highly pungent food, cracks in the tongue in all the directions, deep-seated destructive disease condition. Now next acid is a picric acidum. Picric acid seems to be a concern with a tremendous effort in the direction of intellectual achievement. The failed state of the picric acid is dull, sluggishness, inability to think long, mental work become impossible, and such a state is reached usually in a person who has made a tremendous mental effort and is now exhausted with a brain fag. This may be seen, for example, in a student preparing for the highly competitive exams. For further detail, please refer to my book Spirit of Homeopathy. Next acid is nitric acidum. The theme of nitric acid, beautifully brought out by the Dr. Divya Chhabra, is the feeling of danger. This is brought out in the Argentinum nitricum, which has the theme of performance of Argentinum and critical situation of a nitrate. In a nitric acidum, the basic theme is a constant effort to ward off fight danger. Danger could be perceived from several spheres like health, work, enemies, and so on. The effort is in the form of an obstinate hard struggle with an unforgivable or unforgiving, violent, malicious attitude, internalized and cold anger, and they are tremendously suspicious, mistrustful. They see danger everywhere and are ready to strike back. For example, the tremendous anxiety about the health of the nitric acid reaches the point where he feels anything could be wrong and that he always has to be on his guard against possible disease. The nitric acid person may also see danger to others from the disease. Sympathetic care for the others, ailment from night watching. There is a great fear of death. The theme of danger is also seen in the delusion about the criminal's figure sees. We find it in the other feature of the acid like impatience, impetuous, and also the other side, indolence, discourage, want of self-confidence, despair, discontented with himself. The indolence can reach an extreme as described by the Fatak, so no disposition to work or perform any business. It starts with the phosphoric acidum, the symptoms homesickness with the silent ill humor. While physical symptoms are, they are chilly patients, crave butter, fat, fried things, spicy food, deep crack in the center of the tongue, fissure in ano, tendency to renal calculi, crack in the skin, warts on external throat, nape of the neck or on eyelids, worse when half asleep. Clinical observations they are be reserved and usually even the marked symptom like anxiety about the health, malaise, unforgiving nature, means hatred, rubric is unmoved by the apology, etc. I have often to be illustrated by direct questioning in some of these patients, like I have seen a very strong look in their eye and which seems almost cruel and unfeeling.